So in today's video, first of all, welcome to all the new subscribers to the Wicked family. It's just awesome that you're tuning in, but I think it's really cool to do all of these kind of reviews. Alright, so in this video, this is a special video and a lot of people were requesting this about the handheld collection. So I basically dig all of my handhelds out of the closets, boxes, you name it. But what you're going to get here is the very big pile of the Wicked handheld collection. Alright, we're going to do a little bit of an overview. I just wanted to do a chit chat because I made a separate review, and in the future I will do more comparisons to find the best handheld for you. So you don't need to waste your money and you just can enjoy some games. I want to point out, and I think for me personally that's very important, this video is not made by bragging about the handheld collection I own. No, not at all. A lot of people were requesting it, and that's the main reason why I'm showing it like this. To be honest, I don't care who has the biggest collection. For me, I buy a lot of these products just basically to make a review and to help you out. That's my main goal. Of course I will use some of these handhelds in my private time, that I just play some games. Most of the time it's Street of Rage remake. But what I really like about it is just making the reviews. And seeing the channel grow, that is the thing that really drives me for keep going on. To spend my personal money on these devices, because don't get me wrong, it's not that everybody's sending me free stuff. Most of the time I buy everything myself. But what I already mentioned before, I'm not going to do this, let's say, grabbing every single handheld and going to make a video about it. I just wanted to show some highlights in the collection that I think are really worth picking up. But what is also a little bit of a memory lane for me, because I did so many reviews the last couple of years. Let's talk about this Famicom clone. I really love the design. Yeah, it's a Famicom clone and they even ripped off the design. So what I also like is this little one-up. I love the design. It was pretty damn horrible to play on. So we have in here the Wedoit Go. We'll highlight this because this thing is pretty awesome. The brick games. Man, there are so many of these and they are a couple of euros. Pretty fun to have in my opinion. This gigantic bad boy. Oh, do shut up. Oh, the thing always goes on. No! Off! Ah! Go off. But nevertheless. So here we have the bad boy over here. The Cool Baby family. I really love these Cool Baby things because we're running on the Pi. And they are pretty affordable. So there's something I'm going to talk about in a separate video. 7-inch handhelds. Oh, don't start me on these things. The Pi systems. Funny thing is, I just want to do this comparison with you, so as you can see. There they are, you get it. But there are so many of these Pi based handhelds, and also I'm going to do a separate video about that. Boy Pi. Alright, so what I also think isn't really worth mentioning is this X15. To be honest, I think the X15 is one of my favorite handhelds. I'm going to do a little bit of a highlight about this one. I did both reviews of the Big Ben and the WikiPad. It's more like the Nintendo Switch where you can pull out the tablet. I really love those things. Yeah, the shame is that it had very old Android versions. I think that's the biggest downside. And of course, nowadays the technology goes so fast. So basically they are prehistoric compared with other devices. Okay, so let's dig through the big piles over here. This was basically a phone Xperia, but the funny thing is that you can mod it and you can even play, or better said, emulate some retro games. It supports PlayStation 1 very well. Did a separate review, I love this thing, it's very cool. Yeah, here we have the X9, X12. Always wanted to do some more comparisons. Both great system, but having shitty software like always. Because I think that is a very common problem with some of these devices. For example, this is a great device too. Love the shell itself, because these things are very cheap, but the software is really horrible. It's basically all the same with those. Oh man, it's just freaking annoying. I think that is a very common problem. Maybe I'll make a separate review about what kind of firmware version we're having, or better said, we're having OpenDingux, Android, Raspberry Pi, and just make, let's say, more in comparison with the handhelds and what kind of version you're having if it comes to the software itself, so you have a better idea. So here we have another. This is the PlayStation Portable ripoff. They call it the X6 nowadays. It comes in different colors, shapes, and forms. This is a very obscure Sega handheld. The emulation was pretty good, to be honest. Only yeah, flimsy quality. It's like always the same story. So including the old SP battery that was not that great. Powkiddy 2 still for sale, I'm gonna call it a decent device. The Powkiddy 3 also same story, but this is also something very unique because these were running basically on the same software, and what you're going to get is the same handhelds with the same software, only in different shell. That is something that is very common with these China products. Oh, this thing, yeah, with a little touchscreen, very unique. Here we have another one-up. Again, I go make a one-up video about it, all the one-up videos. And here at the bottom, you can see it's a little bit dusty, but it is the Neo Geo X, and this is one of my favorite systems if it comes to Neo Geo. It's emulation, it's fake retro, it's basically not unreal. It's licensed, or it's under license with Neo Geo. I did a separate review about it. There's a very interesting story about this one. Real clickies D-pad, I love it, or analog stick D-pad, what you want to call it. So the Mio Max, the Retro Game 350 Anbernic, also the metal version. This thing's like a freaking brick, it's just crazy. And so I can keep going on and digging through the piles. We're having another pie-based system. I really hated it. Yeah, I really hate it. Let's put it this way, it's fun to create something for yourself. The game head itself, it's funny, but if you look at it, it's pretty damn poor. The quality, I didn't like it, it plays very choppy. There are some, let's say, skins for it that you can improve the overall experience, but I didn't like it at all. I love building it, but I didn't like playing on it. LDK, and kind of an LDK ripoff. These things are all running on OpenDinux. Here we have another pile. What you can see is the Mio over here. The Mio is also very nice, but it is more like in basic systems. This thing is obscure. The Game Boy Advance. This was more like a Game Boy Advance player that you even can add games through the SD card. Very unique for back in the day. You can't play original cartridges. Yeah, more 8-bit fetish. The Chinese love their 8-bit system, and there are so many of them. It's just basically a freaking nightmare for a reviewer like me. I also love, I think this is a highlight. This is a highlight. The X18 is just a great system. It's flawed in many ways. The mine came with a lot of dust. I need the dust off my handhelds. And yeah, but in overall it was really flawed in many ways, but was affordable compared with the GPD, for example. Of course, I have a lot of DS's. I have the normal DS Lite, I have the 3DS. Let's dig through the pile, and here we have let's put the X18 down. The GPD, I think GPD is one of the best systems if it comes to Android, and let's say, so flip open case. It's a high quality product compared with the X18. The price difference was very huge. I think this GPD is sometimes twice the price of the X18, but it's just worth the money. Fetish, we have in here I think it was the X7 they call it. Here we have another weird, this is also weird, let's say a PSP ripoff with a touchscreen, a very strange thing. I don't know if they're still selling it. At the end, it was the same story. This is the TLX I don't like because this thing runs on Android. The idea behind it is pretty cool, but I have never seen a shitty product that is so poor of quality. I hate it, and it's expensive. So I burned my money on that twice to get a review. This is one of these, let's say, old handhelds that you need to avoid of all time. Shitty software. Love the LEDs at the side, but it's not really worth mentioning more. Here we have the GXD, the 7-inch handhelds. Love these things, high quality build, but at the end what you're going to get is old Android version, and that is a shame and a little bit underpowered. So nowadays if you're getting a Retro Game 350, it's way better for playing old games. Okay, so this is a very expensive one. This is the MoQ. I don't own the 7S version, this is just the i7. It's nothing to do with Intel, by the way. But this is just a very expensive phone that you can buy from AliExpress. It's around €300, so it's not cheap at all. is a little bit overpriced in my opinion. It's high quality, so this is basically the best quality you can get if it comes to all the devices you can see here at the back. So this is what you're going to get with the MoQ i7. Nevertheless, I have a separate review about it where I talk about it, we play some games and where I show you what it's capable of. Nevertheless, the i7s is a little bit better. I hope I can do a video in the future. This thing is pretty damn awesome. Just wanted to show you. One of the ways you can play Game Boy Advance nowadays is having these IPS screens, and that is pretty awesome. Because with these systems you can basically play original games on an original mainboard by only having this very nice IPS screen inside. Don't get me wrong, this is not the old version, this is the new version where you can even adjust the brightness settings. Very cool, very awesome. Did some videos about them. And I think if you love Game Boy Advance and you really love the, let's say the Landscape Edition, the first model, I think you will enjoy your old Game Boy games with a very nice IPS screen. So when it comes to a Pi, this is one gigantic device, and what I think is really cool about these devices is that it's based on a CM3 Pi and it is quite powerful. I really love the design itself, it's very huge. The screen itself was not an IPS. I think the biggest downside to this device was that it wasn't very, well, let's say horrible, but was just basic LCD inside. But it was based on a Pi, you can do whatever you want with it because you can add games and you can play and enjoy them on the go. Yeah, on the go, it's not really portable, but you're getting the point. I really love this bad boy, cool baby, and the prices were very good too. Because if you look at, let's say in overall the Pi systems, they are very expensive if you buy them. One of my favorite Pi system is the LCL Game Boy. So this is the deluxe version. It comes with back triggers, you even have them before, but I love them with the two. Analog stick, the D-pad is very nice. It of course has the original Game Boy Classic skin itself, and that is something that is very cool. It has a beautiful IPS screen. It runs on a Raspberry Pi 3, so far I understand it is a little bit less powerful than the CM3, but nevertheless it runs quite some awesome stuff. So we have quite some different handheld if it comes to Raspberry Pi. I'll make a separate review about it, about the Raspberry Pi, or better said the Pi version, the handhelds, because you can see I got a shitload of them. And the question always remains, which one is the best one? But never the Nintendo Game Boy or the fake Game Boy with a Pi inside. Love it. One of the special handhelds that came out this year is the Retroid Go Advanced. There's a big hype about this handheld. I must be honest, I don't get it because in my opinion it's not that really special. Because this thing is flawed in many ways, like a lot of these devices you can see here. So I understand that this thing is quite powerful. It runs on an emulation station, a little bit similar than the Pi, but there's of course not a Pi inside. You need to build it yourself. It's very expensive to buy. I think that is one of the biggest downsides to this device, because this thing goes around 100 euro at least. If you need to import it to your country, sometimes you need to even pay some more. And of course I have original systems in my collection. For example, the Nintendo Switch, of course. I just did a review about the 2019 model. But I also own a PS Vita, a system that is forgotten by many of you. And the Vita is so great. It's a high quality product. That is something that is Sony showcasing how good and how awesome the products are, basically. I know I'm not a fanboy, but it is just the way how they make the PSP and the PS Vita, touchscreens on it. It's just a high quality product, and that is something that is really appealing. Even in 2020, there's still a lot of stuff going around with the PS Vita. So this was a little bit of a wrap up. I can go on and on and on of this. I do some little highlights now, and the handhelds I really like. I would say, well, thank you all for subscribing to the channel and growing this wicked family. We finally reached 50k. I think it's a magical number, halfway there. Let's go up for the 100k. But nevertheless, in the meantime, I'm going to create a lot of different content and going to have some wicked fun.